So today I'm at Barrack Point, and there's a small Midden site here. But firstly I just wanted to show you what's happened to a lot of the Midden sites along the coast, and that is that before the value of these Midden sites was recognised, things like roads and stuff have simply just come in and bulldozed and completely destroyed Midden sites all the way along the coast. What's interesting about this particular spot is you can see that part of it has been eroded away, and you can see the large basalt stones that they've brought in to protect erosion along the coast have eroded away, and what's revealed behind it is a sand dune, and within the sand dune we can see this Midden layer that runs through it. And if we just push in, I'll show you some of the things to look at that lets us know that this is a Midden site. So what we can see in this dune here is various shells, and one of the things that differentiates this from being shells that have washed up is that the shells are still intact. If this was washed up here by the waves, the shells would be smashed and they wouldn't be intact like they are at the moment. It's interesting to see the various shells and the layers that have been laid down over time. And one of the reasons and one of the things that Indigenous people used to do is leave the shells in, on top of the next pile or the pile, and they could see what they had harvested, so they wouldn't take too much of a particular resource. Now if I swing the camera around, what we can see is that we've got an inlet, and this inlet is known as a little river. So again, this would have made an ideal spot, as we've got fresh water coming in. Well, this water here would be brackish, but there would be various fish and things that could be fished within this inlet. And then we've got this coastal rock platform. So we'll just head around the headland and just see if we can find anything else of interest that has been eroded out of the Midden site. Just before I leave, I'll just point out a little bit of the Midden under here, and it's a shame that in the past that Midden sites was disregarded, and roads and stuff were built over the top of them, and breakwater systems and basalt was brought in to protect the erosion along the coastline, but no consideration was made for the protection of these particular Midden sites. I'm not sure what we're going to find at this site. I haven't had a good look at it before, so I'll just stop and point out anything of interest as I come across it. We've got here appears to be some kind of felsic rock, and we can see various flakes have been removed. These may not have been removed for the purpose of having the flakes themselves, but maybe to improve this edge or something similar to that. Just wanted to point out this hammerstone here. I won't pull it out, but what we can see is we've got quite an elongated form. Again, it's been split at one end. This part of the Midden site has been a little bit of a landslip. We can see a lot of the shells and stuff are broken. If I just tilt the camera up, actually if I just move the camera a bit, we can see that the original Midden site along there, so this bit here is just kind of slipped out. But nevertheless, what we've got is a hammerstone that would have been in the Midden site for the purposes of either splitting open shells or making stone tools. This is quite interesting. What we've got here is what I've showed you before, and that is a piece of greenstone, and this is a piece of water cobbled greenstone, so either from some kind of river or water tumbled due to surf action. But what's interesting is we can see various flakes. We can see a large point of impact there to create this this negative bulb, And again on this side we can see another percussion mark there. So it's interesting that possibly another one up here. So that's interesting, finding another greenstone, and as I mentioned before, these held a value as well. And this one has probably been transported some distance. However, not much has been taken from it. The intention of this may have been for the use as some kind of core. So this is quite interesting. We saw something similar to this. If you have a look at the Windang Island video, we found a similar kind of rectangular stone that had been broken at one end, or split in half almost. You can see it's made out of phonolite with nepheline crystals in it, which I think it was a popular stone. And we can also see this kind of ground down edge. So this may have been used for digging out roots or things like that, or it may simply have been used to remove shells from rocks, or for the purpose of some kind of grinding. So what we've got here is what appears to be a grinding stone, and I mentioned before that they don't always use sandstone, and we can see this piece of basalt, vesticular basalt, with all the gas bubbles and stuff like that, which have would have formed or come out of the magma when it was still a liquid. But what we can see is that one of the faces on here is really quite smooth. It appears to have been ground down. If I turn it over, it's quite rough on most of the other sides, even this side here, which also looks quite smooth. It's nowhere near as smooth as this face here. So this may have been a grinding stone. So what I just wanted to point out here are these stones that have been split in half, and we've seen these in some of the other Midden sites. There's another one over here, and it's interesting that that this was obviously a practice that occurred. This one here even looks like it originally, actually I'll get a close focus on that, may have been some kind of grinding stone. We can see that this surface here is really quite smooth and has a good form, but it's been split and may have then been used for removing molluscs and things like that from the rocks. So I'm just progressing around the headland heading east, and we can see the actual whole of the eastern side of this headland is a midden. If I swing the camera back around, I've just been travelling along here, and I've just been pulling some of the harder stones out and having a look at them, but you can see that the high tide mark does make it up to here, and a lot of this midden side here is being destroyed, and we can see that the shells and things like that have been crushed, and that's usually associated with, you know, surf break and you know, water deposits, which look different to what you see at a midden site. So it's disappointing once again to see that footpaths and things like that run all through this midden site, and this can be seen at a lot of the midden sites I've had a look at. It's just disappointing that local councils are not concerned with protecting these important sites, because they're under enough pressure as it is from rise and tide and other erosional factors that treading and things like that is not really helping the process of protecting these important sites. So I just spotted another muller. What we can see is we've got a bit of sandstone, a piece of river cobble, and we can see this very discernible smooth face here. So this would have been used for grinding starchy plant material and things like that. This one spot here, I've came across what I believe to be a scraper, and there's another one just in the back there that I'll show you after. Now these don't have the best examples of retouching, but what we can see is that this particular flake has been removed from a larger core, and if we just have a look down this edge, what we can see is that there has been some either pressure flaking or soft hammer percussion just to improve that edge slightly. It may be due to these small kind of serrations may be due to, you know, being on the ground and being trodden on and things like that, or it could have been for a purpose. This one here may be a little clearer, although it doesn't have the best edge. What we can see is, again, it's a flake that's been removed. We can see the outer cortex. If we have a look down this edge, we can see that various flakes have been removed from both sides. So I'd say that this particular stone, more than the other, had intentional retouching, and this is probably some hammer percussion and some soft hammer percussion to produce this kind of notched, put that back into focus, some kind of notched edge along there. This one is pretty smooth. It's pretty smooth on this side here. I'd say that these flakes were removed some time ago. This appears to be, you know, oxidization and things like that that have occurred on the internal surface of this particular flake. So I just found another muller, and I don't want to disturb the side too much, but we can see that it's actually pretty heavily disturbed. The shells and stuff have been broken up due to, you know, a high tide and things like that, and being trodden on. So I'll just pick it up and we'll have a look. So again, what we can see is we've got a muller, piece of sandstone. It's a nice shape. It's, you know, good size. You can see that one of the surfaces, one of the faces has been smoothed down. We can see that there is a lot of, you know, it's quite smooth on that side, almost like a polish. So I found this, and it's not very interesting, but I thought I'd show you it anyway. It looks like what we've got is a small grinding stone or muller. Again, it's made out of, this one's quite a hard sandstone, and it may have undergone some kind of heating at some point to make it, or some kind of diagenetic process. Which means that it's been, you know, heated, and some of these sand crystals have started to melt together and fuse together. But what's interesting is we can see this smooth flat face that was possibly used as a grinding stone, and it has been broken in half again from a larger core, almost, if you could call it that. And we've got these other two flakes, or retouching that has maybe removed something to make it a little bit easier to hold on to. It's interesting. I mean, this is obviously very smooth, and you can see that, but it's also interesting in here. May be able to make that out as being some kind of use wear, but due to the amount of time it's been sitting here, maybe too much of a call to say that's some kind of use wear, but it certainly is smooth, which may indicate that it was held in, you know, in the palm of the hand like this. So I've done a quick scout all the way along, and I'm looking west again, and what we can see is that erosion has greatly affected this site. We're a little bit further around the headland now, but what we can see is that the high tide does in fact make it up quite a distance. So this site is gradually disappearing, and there's actually not much left to really be able to find. It's been quite destroyed, and some of the stone tools or the only stone tools that can really be found are the harder mafic and felsic rocks, but none of the small scrapers and things like that are very easily found, as the Midden has just been completely destroyed.